Nation's unemployment rate may be at 8.3%, but that's not stopping President Obama's deputy campaign manager, Stephanie Cutter, from making this claim.
The president coming in and seeing 800,000 jobs lost on the day that the president was being sworn in, and seeing the president moving pretty quickly to stem the losses, to turn the economy around. And over the past, 27 months, we've created 4.5 million private sector jobs. That's more jobs than in the Bush recovery, in the Reagan recovery. There's obviously more that we need to do.
More jobs in the Reagan recovery? That's terrific. If it's true, here with the fact check is Cato Institute Senior Fellow Daniel Mitchell. He joins us today from Denver. Good morning to you, Daniel.
Good morning.
So there you have Stephanie Cutter out on a morning show saying that the Obama administration has created more jobs than the Reagan recovery. Is that accurate?
Maybe some intern deep in the bowels of the White House crunched the numbers in a certain way so that left-handed Capricorns who live on the second story of apartment buildings in towns of 50,000 people have better job performance under Obama than Reagan. But here's what everyone in the audience should do. The Minneapolis Federal Reserve Bank maintains a website where you can look at every business cycle since the end of World War II, and you can directly compare Reaganomics and Obamanomics. And the differences are shocking in terms of job numbers. You basically see this very steeply rising increase in employment under the Reagan recovery, but under the very tepid Obama recovery we're in right now, it's more like you have this very flat line that's slowly creeping up. We're way, way behind the pace. And frankly, I'm an economist, not a politician or a political scientist. I am shocked that the White House is actually dumb enough to start inviting people to make a comparison between Reaganomics and Obamanomics, because there is no comparison.
Sure, and that's one of the reasons, the president doesn't want to talk about job growth and unemployment. And, go back a couple of years, Daniel, and the White House made it very clear. Past the stimulus, unemployment would remain below 5.5%. Now it's north of 8%. And we're heading to an election where the president is trying desperately, all eyes on something other than the economy.
The administration made a very big mistake politically back when they were first taking office, when they said, hey, let's squander $1 trillion on various special interest groups, and somehow through the magic of Keynesian economics, we'll drive unemployment down under 5.5% by the middle of 2012. Well, here we are, middle of 2012, and we're 43 or 44 straight months of unemployment above 8%, the worst performance since the Great Depression.
Sure.
And I say this as someone who was willing to give Obama a free pass for the first year. There's no question when he came into office there was a mess. Republicans had spent the economy into a ditch, so they definitely had their share of the blame. But after a year or so, after he got a lot of his policies in place, he begins to then bear responsibility for the economy. And whether we're looking at very weak numbers for middle-class incomes, whether we're looking at lost wealth for middle-income households, whether we're looking at these high unemployment numbers, here's what it all boils down to. If we follow European-style economic policy of big government, higher taxes, more intervention, regulation, and red tape, why are we surprised we're getting European economic results?
And Daniel, before you go, real quickly, if the president is reelected, is there any hope that things will turn around?
The economy historically always bounces back from an economic downturn. The question is, how fast does it bounce back?
Right.
Do we recover the lost output by having several years, like happened under Reagan, of above-average growth? Or do we slowly climb our way back to maybe a more modest, mediocre level of growth? And that's really the difference. If you look at countries like Italy or France, where you have long-run growth of 1% to 2%, those countries fall behind over time. Right. Living standards aren't as strong. Opportunities, especially for young people, aren't as high. And that's the most important thing. Look around the world. It's a natural laboratory. We should try to be more like Singapore and Hong Kong with 5% to 6% growth in small government rather than Europe. Why copy Greece?
No kidding. All right, Daniel Mitchell, Senior Fellow at the Cato Institute, who's today in Denver. Thank you, sir, for joining us live.